Okay, everybody, these video clips were from over a long period of time, so I had to do a quick intro. The goal was initially to do a comparison of the picture before tube restore and then after a tube restore, but it ended up getting sidetracked because I ran into issues, so it's kind of cobbled together, but hopefully it makes some sense in the end. Just really shows you a lot of screens about the CR7000, including the HK short, so hope it benefits somebody.
Okay, what you see here is basically just with all the color drive pots and cutoffs centered, and we're definitely like green is not looking too good, right? And granted, we could adjust it and maybe make it better. So what I'm going to do next is actually restore this tube. It's never been restored, and then come back and see what it looks like right after that. And then after that, maybe we'll do it. I've done a ton of videos on the CR7000 restore process and stuff, so I just figured I'd show a baseline real quick. We'll go to G1 short, and you can see that on the red gun there's some leakage, I guess. Let's see, G1 short between the control grid and the cathode or something like that. So anyway, H and K, heater to cathode, looks good. Low tracking. Now we're on a negative 132 bias here, and on video 2, I actually I don't have the tube number to actually know for sure that it should be a negative 132 bias, but most of them are. They're either negative 132, negative 100, or negative 68. So, but anyway, we're gonna go crank up our levels. We got nothing in the cutoff zone, so it doesn't look like the guns are great if it is negative 132. And we go high emissions, and those look bad too. So we know that the tube probably needs some work. And if we go to low cutoff tracking, I have to go all the way to negative 68 to be able to get them probably all into the cutoff range. So that's kind of our baseline right there, and we got bad low tracking. So maybe negative 84. Can I get them all in? Yeah. So that's good. Let's go negative 100. No, only the green gun. So I'm thinking it is supposed to be negative 132 bias, and I'll reactivate the guns, and then go through the restore function as needed, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so did some restore functions on this tube, and actually it's probably a little bit maybe even worse. I don't know. It could be better from a tracking standpoint, but you can see that now in the G1 short we have some leakage across all the guns. They're all in the green, which is still good, but I think what I read was when you have less than full bars, it means there's some maybe emissions or something going in between the cathode and the G1 grid, control grid, and the cathode or something. So HK short's good. Cutoff low tracking right now. Crank up my cutoff levels. Go to the extended cutoff test, and before we could get them all into 84 at negative 84 bias, we could get everything into the cutoff. And now you can see my green gun, which was one of the better guns, is not so good. But if I go to negative 68, I can still adjust them to all the cutoff. So I might try to get the green gun a little bit better, as basically the red and blue are looking a lot better. And then once you adjust it there, then we come back to negative 132, which we're assuming is the for this tube is what it should be, and you can see our emission levels are all below the good line. So I'm assuming that this is the specs for the tube, which I'm not 100% sure. We're not great as far as what our restorer is telling us. So I'm going to pause, try to get the green a little bit better, and then come back. But I'm not going too much further than this. Okay, I just reactivated the green gun. Let's see what we got. See, now I go to G1 short, and the green is down, but now the blue is all the way up. So kind of indicates that something's going on maybe between the guns. I don't know what this means, but either that or my restorer isn't 100%, because you get this random kind of stuff, readings going there. Let's go to at negative 68, but at negative 84, see, we're not getting anything like we were before. So it's like the green gun, we're actually worse than what we were before. So that reactivate definitely didn't help the green gun. So we're risking, if I go to a normal restore on the green gun, we're definitely risking doing more damage at this point. But I might risk it. I'm not sure. So okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to just leave it as it is. There's the G1 short right now. Now we got the green, all the way up, but the red and blue are less than full, but still in the green. HK short is good. Cutoff low tracking. No longer can I get it in the 84, for the green. Oh, well. Maybe I can. I thought I couldn't, but then again, it could be because the guns are a little warmer than normal, so you can get some false readings here. To really double check it, I should come back and do it after a good 15-minute cool down or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I get them all in the cutoff there. Nothing at negative 100. But our tracking is good. I'm pretty sure we had bad tracking before. I have to go back and look at the previous video. See, I hate it when they kind of drift a little bit, so. Alright, high tracking. Go back to 132. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, our emission levels aren't good, so but the gun tracking is still good. So that's where the current status of the tube is, and I'm going to leave it alone there, and just hope the tube is good enough to display good image. So I put the tube on the CR7000, and it wasn't a lot better, but I could get everything through the extended cutoff test. Emission level is not great, so the tube doesn't have a lot of life left, but I did as much as I could until I started getting worse readings and stuff. But now, without adjusting anything, all the pots are completely centered just as I had it before, and you can see that the color is much better. I haven't adjusted the chassis or anything, so this kind of shows you that just recapping the chassis without doing a tube restore, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you can adjust the colors, and I still do need to do some adjustments. I'm just going through the different things on the TPG here, but you can see like the green, the red. There's definitely something going on with some lines here. So I think the chassis could still use a recap, because I'm wondering if it'll take care of that. But the tube definitely looks much better as far as color and everything goes than what we saw before. So I would say the tube restore, definitely helped out, and I'm glad I did it first here on this one. Yeah, and everything is completely centered on the pots and everything. So see, like there, the drive, and right there. See if I can show the other ones. Probably not, but anyway. Cool. All right, be right back. Maybe I'll do a recap. And
okay, a couple things before I continue. I had to jump in here. I don't think, based off this picture now, looking back, there was no improvement. The other thing is these lines on the right-hand side of the screen that you see there is really based off of the vertical hold needed to be adjusted. Later on, I do a cap kit and adjust this out, but I don't really cover it. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that those lines were fixed eventually by the vertical hold. I was trying to say vertical hold there, obviously. But what happens next is I was going to show the 4600 correct way to do color balance and white balance and stuff using the directions. But what ends up happening is, as I was doing it and getting ready to film it, I actually get an HK short. So that's what you're about to see here.
Okay, so I just wanted to show this real quick. It's very hard to kind of see that on this film, but that is after I did the cap kit, everything was working fine, and then all of a sudden I got huge overdrive on the red and stuff. This is actually with the test. I was doing the color balance, and it says to take off your test clip. I don't want to leave it like this, but too long. But it says take out the wire that's on that in plug on the neck board, and then put it into, let's see if I can get in there, the S. See, can we see that? It's right. See if I can't really see it. Anyway, there's on the horizontal vertical section, you put that test plug in there, and then you're supposed to adjust all your pots on the neck board to full counterclockwise. So your screen and all of your cutoffs, red, blue, and green, on the bottom of the neck board here, you want to put those all into a counterclockwise, and you should adjust it until you just get a white screen, a white line, I mean. And I'll come right so back. I removed the test point, put it back in on Z right there, which allows you to get vertical and horizontal deflection, I guess, instead of a single line there. And you can see I got all these retrace lines. It's not looking good, what happened here. So, and it was working fine. So I'm thinking that I either have a short in the tube between the guns, or I have a bad transistor. So I'm going to start troubleshooting that, but definitely not looking good. Also, as part of the color balance test, you're supposed to ground the red, green, and blue guns. So that's what I have set up there. And I should be able to get just a pure white image, but because of those retrace lines and everything, there's got to be something either going on with this card here with the black level adjustment, or something on the neck board, or something with the tube is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to start troubleshooting that and be right back. Okay, so I took out the interface board, I think is what it's called. This is for puts out the sync and the colors. Or in the color and RGB input and sync input come into this board, and then you have these transistors. Let's see if I can show that to you. TR 206, 204, 206, 205, 203. Well, those are probably the that's probably the horizontal stuff right there. These are the colors. That's 207. I haven't looked at the schematic, but I assume these are definitely those resistors and transistors there are for the colors. So what I did is basically just grabbed a different P317 interface board and hooked up the TPG and see if we can narrow it down to just that board, or if it's on the tube or not. So TPG is turned on. Plug in this monitor. Okay, so with the TPG turned on, you see I'm getting all red and retrace lines, and that's with a totally different with P317 board here. So probably it's either a neck board issue or in the transistors on that, or it's got to be something else. So okay, I hooked up the tube back up to the tester, the CR7000. And blue-green guns on G1 short look pretty good. I mean, there is a little bit of leakage here. We were getting that before, and I don't think that's the problem, because even after I did the cap kit, I was able to do a white balance, and it looked fine, and then just all of a sudden it just went crazy after I had the tube on for a while. So it makes me think that it is a transistor gave out. But it probably has to be on the neck board, I would think. H to K short's good. Check our G1. Again, you know, the tube is definitely out of spec, but that shouldn't cause that problem. Yes, I mean, we have good tracking and everything. So the tube definitely hasn't changed significantly from where we were at. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it's not. I mean, it could definitely use a new tube, but I don't think that's necessarily the problem. So, all right, I'll pause and be right back. Let's check the neck board transistors. Okay, I'm getting back to this, and after quite a while, it's been a couple months, and this tube is still giving me problems. And right now, obviously, you can see it looks somewhat fine, obviously, with the TPG hooked up to it. I just saw it when I turned the monitor on for the first time. It went into the red overdrive again, but it's not doing it right at this second. So some of the tests that I've done is I basically ended up swapping out the entire chassis, and so new neck board, new chassis. The only thing that it would be the same is the flyback and the tube at this point. And I have the TPG on, and now I just started filming, and of course it's not doing the red thing anymore, so which is problematic, I guess. So I guess I'll come back and start it again, because it could be an intermittent issue. And so after doing some research and stuff, and even putting it back on my tester again, and I know it, like when I was testing it before, I wasn't showing any HK shorts, heater to cathode shorts, but then I started reading a heater to cathode short on the red gun.
Okay, so unfortunately I didn't film when I was doing the heater to cathode short, but I did take a picture of it because I was posting on KLOV in a thread updating on this progress here. But here is a picture where you can actually see the HK short that I was reading. And this is right after when the tube had the stuck on red gun. So that's kind of indicative of a H to K short, is when you have that overdrive of red with the retrace lines. You got to look for HK short. But the transistor test is something else you want to check as well.
And so I know something's going on with the tube, and we just have to wait for it to actually freak out again, I guess, is the best way to explain it. So hopefully it will. Okay, it's been at least 30 or more minutes, and the monitor's been running fine. So I'm going to disconnect it, unpower it, and hook the tube back up to the CR7000. So be right back. Let's see if that HK short got blown out on its own when we powered it up. I discharged the monitor just to be safe since I was messing with the neck, but should have been okay either way. Hooked it up. Doesn't really matter for video one, you know, what the settings are for these two tests here. So we're just going to go to G1 short. Looks very similar to what we had before with a little bit of leakage on the red gun. And now HK short's gone. So that definitely looks, you know, you can see that it's all full go here. Wow, that's interesting. So that is definitely what the all red was, is we had an HK short. I don't know how we just powered it on and it kind of, I guess, unshorted itself somehow, I guess, inside the tube. So interesting. I don't even know what to say. So I guess that's a good thing. But dang, I was looking forward to actually troubleshooting that HK short and doing some measurements and isolation and other tricks that you can do to kind of remove it. But I guess I'm not going to be able to do that now. So anyway, so if it does do it again, we'll come back and revisit this. But as of right now, I guess this tube is good. I'm probably going to put the other chassis back in because I had swapped chassis. So put the chassis that was with this tube back in. I still need to, I didn't hook up everything. Like I still have the cap. It's kind of a pain in the butt to switch chassis, I don't know, but this one hasn't been recapped or anything. This is an old original chassis, original caps and everything. So yeah, I'm going to do that, I guess, and then we'll see if the HK short comes back. All right, talk to you guys later. Okay, I ended up putting back in the old chassis, and I don't know if you can see that. It's got new caps on it and everything. So it's got the boards that I repaired and fixed up. So anyway, that's the chassis that came originally with this tube and in this frame and stuff, and it's still working fine. I don't even know, you know, no more short. And when I was messing with it, earlier, like about a couple of hours ago, I just decided to power it on one more time, but it was kind of breathing. It was, you know, just a little bit of like shaking. It was like woo, woo, like that, and without the sound effects, of course. But now it looks pretty good. I mean, there's some slight convergence at the edges and stuff that's a little bit messed up, but it looks pretty good for a tube that, you know, looked as bad as it did on the Restorer. You know, I'm still able to dial in. The green isn't great, I don't think, in my opinion, but I've been messing with the colors, and that's the best I can get it, really. So but yeah, I mean, you know, the grayscales and everything looks pretty good. I mean, that's a gray screen, that's a white screen, so it looks pretty good. So I guess I'm done with it until it shorts out again. But for now, you know, we've done everything we could and gave it as much life as we could and replaced the caps and stuff. So the one thing, it was like heaving a little bit, and then I did see, I don't think it was related because I tried to reproduce it, but I did have this little ground strap that goes to the neck board disconnected. I forgot to reconnect it, but I don't think that's what the issue was, because I tried to reproduce it and I still can't reproduce the kind of breathing or the heaving of the image. It was kind of just, it was very slight. It was just kind of every, you know, second, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would just like contract and expand very slightly. But I can't see it now, so I guess it's a good thing that it's working. And it looks pretty good. So this is going to go back into the kicks game it came out of. There's a little bit of kicks burn, very slight, at the upper left-hand corner. So, all right. Hopefully that helped somebody. If not, I just documented it for myself. Cheers.